You already know that a story map shows the setting, character, problem, and solution to a story. We're going to read 2 stories and use our story map to take notes. Once we have our notes, we'll be ready to compare and contrast the 2 stories. Now, let's practice using a story. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Once upon a time, there was a boy who had a very important job. There were the sheep, but there was no wolf. The angry said that watching sheep is not boring after all. Now that we've read the story, we're ready to fill in our story map. Click here. Setting. Where does the story take place? A hill. You got it. Click here. Main character. Click the most important character. A wolf. No, who is the story mostly about? A boy. You got it. Click here. Problem. What problem is the main? Fantastic! You completed the whole story map. Knowing how a story works will help you to look at 2 different stories to find out what's the same and what's different about them. You did a great job on your first story map. Now we'll read a second story so that we can compare and contrast the 2 stories. Let's get started. The Wolf Who Cried Boy. Once upon a time, there was a young wolf who spent his days in the run for your lives. The next day, he was bored again, still laughing at how he had tricked the pack. But he ran the wrong way, right he brought out his camera. I want to shoot your photo. Click. Now that we've read the story, we're ready to fill in our story map. Click here. Setting. Where does the story take place? A forest. That's right. Fantastic! You completed the whole story map. Knowing how a story works will help you to look at 2 different stories to find out what's the same and what's different about them. Now you're ready to compare what's the same and contrast what's different with the 2 stories. It's time to compare and contrast the stories you read. Click here to move on. Click the buttons to move them. Items from the first story go here. Items from the second story go here. Items from both stories go here. If you need to review the stories, click here. Put the words in the right spot. A boy. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Super! Click here to hide the tray. A hill. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Perfect. A wolf. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Uh-oh, check your notes if you need to and try again. The Wolf Who Cried Boy. He is bored. The Boy Who Cried Wolf and the Wolf Who Cried Boy. Terrific! You really know how to compare and contrast.